look at what's making news in some of the morning's newspapers. Here with me to look through them are the political editor of the Sunday Mirror, Nigel Nelson, and the journalist and broadcaster, Bidisha Mamata. Nigel, Bidisha, good to have you back with us again. All right, let's crack on and go through some of the front pages. And Nigel, we'll start with you, your Sunday Mirror, and the front page there. Gary Lineker. Britain should be proud of Lineker. Take us through the reporting on this.
Yeah. I mean, Gary Lineker is still up there in the headlines. We're now days after the controversy. What this is an interview with a law student who was a human rights activist in Pakistan. And Gary Lineker took him in for 20 days. And he's got nothing but praise for Lineker. He also reveals that Gary Lineker is a fantastic cook, apparently, who makes mind-blowing meals, as he describes it. I think that the original tweet really did go too far, but then the BBC made such a huge mess of their response to it. What is actually good news is that Gary Lineker is back on TV, doing what he does best, which is commentating on sports, and now it's business as usual, and let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah, Bidisha, quick thought from you, and you can comment if you like on Gary Lineker being an excellent cook.
He can cook for me anytime he likes. I'm a very happy professional eater. I completely agree with that analysis. I think that this has been a storm in a teacup, and it's also indicative of the way that traditional media outlets really have to get on board with the fact that their presenters, particularly much-loved veteran presenters, they know themselves extremely well, they have strong personalities, do have their own private social media accounts, and on those accounts, they may well say something about whatever's happening in the news headlines of the day. I don't think that what Lineker said was very extreme in one direction or another. So these things do happen, and the big media outlets need to get on board with that.
Okay, let's keep moving through some of the stories this morning. Bidisha, we'll stick with you. Story we were just covering a short while ago, Donald Trump claiming he's going to be arrested come Tuesday. It's been covered in a number of the newspapers, and this is the coverage that we've got here in the Sunday Telegraph. Tell us about this.
Yes, this follows on from that excellent interview you just did with the analyst talking about Trump, who claims he's about to be arrested. There is no proof that he is indeed about to be arrested. One unconfirmed source says that there is, in fact, a rumor that Alvin Bragg, the district attorney, will be meeting with law enforcement on Tuesday. So something is happening on Tuesday. And of course, the DA's office, Hollywood movie style, is investigating the US twice impeached president over claims that he'd made payments to Stormy Daniels. But of course, people are commenting, particularly Republican partisan fans of Trump. They're saying, well, you know, frankly, presidents have always done this. This is a politicized attempt at trying to get this guy into prison. But it's really about the attack on the Capitol on the 6th of January in 2021. I don't think that analysis is wrong. I think the DA's office do indeed want to get Trump for something. And it is true that they're investigating him and they're working with the police and law enforcement. So something is happening.
Yeah, there are other elements going on as well with his tax affairs too. I won't get you to dwell on that, Nigel. Let's keep moving on and go to another story that's making headlines this morning. And this is one that's been running all week, but some commentary about it in the Times that you've picked out, Nigel. And this is the situation in France. We've seen protests have died down a little bit the past couple of days, but after Emmanuel Macron forced through change to pension policy, people took to the streets, which is not unusual in France, but he might have some issues coming in the next few weeks.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, he's trying to raise the pension age from 62 to 64, and he wants to do this by pushing it through Parliament without a vote, because, of course, he doesn't have a majority there, which may end up with a no-confidence vote in him. It does seem a bit extraordinary the French are quite so upset about this. I mean, given that in the UK the pension age is going up to 68, the French have got it rather good on the basis of it only being 64. And of course, with one of the biggest problems facing us globally as aging populations, it's inevitable that the pension age is going to go up. People are fitter for longer, and therefore they can work longer.
Yeah, absolutely right. Bidisha, a quick thought from you on there before we move on to the next story?
Yes, I think the controversy here is that this move to go forward without a parliamentary vote doesn't have the support of the people or indeed of Macron's political colleagues. So it's seen as part of his Jupiterian style of leadership. And his argument is, of course, exactly as we just heard, about the rising life expectancy, but also the fact that paying out pensions is adding to France's very high national debt. And yet it's all happening at a time of protest. So next week and in the coming weeks, you're going to see strikes across train drivers, oil rig workers, other public and civil service workers, civil society workers. There's a sense that there's a great remoteness between the leadership and the travails of ordinary people. So this attempt to force through something without a vote is seen as being part of that Macron is out of touch.
Yeah, Badish, let's stick with you then, because a couple more stories to get through. I want to get to this one in The Sun. 25,000 teachers attacked by kids. That's the headline there. But you should give us some of the detail. And let's remember that there have been teacher strikes this week. They are in talks with the government at the moment, but some of the concerns from teachers, not just about pay, it's the conditions they have to work in. And I guess this headline here is kind of indicative of what might be going on in some schools.
Yes, that's exactly it. So this article isn't really about student and pupil behaviour. It's about the level of compensation paid out to teachers, not just through aggression or poor discipline in the classroom, but also through health and safety, through having to work in buildings which have an asbestos problem, through injury, through accident. It all points to the same few things: decades of underinvestment, a system that isn't joined up, that isn't hanging together, poor confidence in the abilities of teachers, and a lack of support for teachers in doing what they were called to do by their vocation, which is to teach and enrich young people. And of course, it ties in with lots of worries and headlines at the moment about student behaviour, aggression, machismo in the classroom. What are we teaching young people? The influence of social media. That's part of it. But it's also really about the sense of loss of confidence, loss of a sense of support that teachers themselves have. I think that's the real scandal here, that this is one of the noblest professions, and yet it's not being adequately supported or respected apparently by anyone.
Now, Nigel, that will be a concern when it's not being respected clearly by anyone, as Badisha points out. We haven't got long, Nigel, so just a quick thought from you if you can.
Yeah, only that as Badisha says, it's really about compensation, this story. So it doesn't tell us what is going on in schools. But it sounds like if you've got 25,000 attacks on teachers, Ofsted needs to get involved and sort out what is happening in these particular schools.